might have thought about, man. And it's just more so, don't be scared to change, man. Don't be scared to change who you think you might become or who you think you're comfortable with at this point in time. You know, yeah, that's fine. I don't know if you're satisfied with yourself. You might not be, you might be. But this for the people out here, man, who feel like, you know, when they wake up, it's more work to do. You know what I mean? If you feel like there's more work to do when you wake up, I feel like, man, you just need to figure out what flaws you got, man. Whatever flaws you got, whatever insecurities, whatever energy blockages, you know what I'm saying? Anything like that that may be having you waste too much time thinking about things that don't matter. I feel like just get uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Like, I'll give y'all a cool little story one time. Like, you know, like I basically started off just like any other young person, bro. I did like jobs, like dead end jobs, like, you know, cash register stuff, you know, a little stock here and there stuff. You know what I mean? Like nothing with a real trade, nothing with a real education. You know what I mean? Something any average Joe could do. And, you know, when I was younger, I always felt like there wasn't no job security. You know what I mean? Because where I'm from, you know what I mean? Where I'm from, it's like you supposed to work at a decent distribution center or a warehouse, or like work in the medical field, become like a med tech or some type of nurse, or, you know what I mean, go to the military. The military a big one. Go to the military, you know what I'm saying? Or some corporate, something corporate. And, you know, that's supposed to be like your 3 or 5, maybe 6 avenues of how you're going to be able to get retirement, take care of yourself, you know, and all that good stuff like that. So, you know, just growing up, I just felt like it was more to life than just doing that. I always felt like, you know, like I had more like hidden talents, or maybe like a hidden skill or something like that, you know what I mean, that I just really need to tap into. You know what I mean? I felt like school wasn't like a good avenue for that. You know what I mean? So, you know, you still might have to live like a normal person. You know what I mean? You got to get a job, you know what I mean? You got to get bills and stuff like that eventually when you come of age, you know, 18, whatever the case may be. So, but it still didn't have no fulfillment with it. You know, I still wasn't fulfilled. So I pretty much went through a couple phases, man, where I was taking a lot of risks trying to figure out what I was good at. You know what I mean? I was trying to, you know what I mean? You know, they say you never can grow when you're comfortable. So, you know, I was just trying to make myself, you know, uncomfortable as I could, you know, doing like nothing too weird, nothing too crazy, but, you know, I was just putting myself out there to try to see, like, you know, what I was good at. So a couple years go by, I don't really do nothing too major, you know what I mean? I actually ended up going through a situation where I moved out of state for a few years. You know what I mean? I ended up moving out of state for a few years. And when I moved out of state for a few years, you know, it's a whole different environment. It's a whole different atmosphere, man. You know, the mentality, the mindset different, everything different. So basically, I ended up moving from the East Coast to the West Coast. And then when I went out there, man, the money is different. You know what I mean? Like, just the cost of living is spiked. You know what I mean? So I had to really figure out, like, what I was going to do. And I ended up just, you know, trying to find something that didn't require a lot of education to do. Because, you know, at that time, I had just moved, so I was just trying to get on quick, you know what I mean, quick as I could. So, but I wanted to do something I was proud of, that if somebody asked me what I do for a living, that, you know what I mean, I wasn't ashamed to tell them or nothing like that, you feel me? So I ended up doing something like starting off at a warehouse, you know what I mean? I started doing like warehouse work. And this is a cool thing about warehouse work. Like when I had got into doing the warehouse work, like I started off as a loader, you know what I mean? Where they would have like the 18-wheelers or the trailers, you know, those trailers that be on the highway, that be transporting, you know what I mean, goods from port to port and stuff like that, like we had to unload them. Or sometimes we would load them. Like we had unloaders and we had loaders. I started off as a loader. But you know what I'm saying? I always felt like mentally, I felt like I was on a higher consciousness than majority of the people in my age group at the time. So, you know, majority of like 18, 19-year-olds, they don't like working. You know what I mean? Like they don't like working. They don't want to be at work. They'd rather just be partying, chilling, you know, relaxing, taking, you know what I mean, taking naps, man, going on vacation. Life's good, right? And they you know what I mean, they hate working for somebody. You know what I mean? They want to start off already, you know, in ownership or investor, or you know what I mean? Like, you know, they already want to start off as a business mindset. They don't understand that without no education or some type of trade or skill or something like that, starting off young. I'm not saying you can't get that at 18 or 19, but I'm just saying some of us got into the workforce a little faster or a little earlier than we were supposed to. So I was one of them people. And I had like a worker's permit at like 13. I worked at a restaurant that we all familiar with. If you stay on the East Coast, it's called, well, they might be on the West Coast too. Well, I'm going to just say the name of the restaurant. I worked at CC's Pizza. You know what I'm saying? That was my first job, bro. I was a busboy. You know what I'm saying? But I was just trying to make summer money, you know what I mean? Or school money at the time. Because I was like in the sixth grade going on to the 7th grade. So at that time, you know, I had to pay my own cell phone bill. I had to pay for my own, you know, wardrobe and stuff like that. So, you know, I was already driven to work already. So I just knew after a while I didn't want to work too hard. Like I didn't want to do anything backbreaking, nothing against people that do that type of work, because at the end of the day, we all need everybody to play their part as far as what you're good at and what you do. I just knew, like I said, I might have a little hidden talent or maybe like a different special skill that I didn't know of at the time. So basically what I did was I started off at the warehousing and stuff like that. But like back to the story, because I got off track. But back to the story. So when I would go to these warehouses and these distribution centers, right, I would go in there, but like on the way to me going to get my equipment, because we had to use a scanner to scan every package. You know, the UPCs, the SKUs, you know, you have a little bill of lading. You might have a quantity or something like that. You might have a description of the package or what it might be. But we had like these handheld like scanners. I think they was called like Zebra. It was a Zebra brand or a Zebra manufacturer or something like that, right? So we basically would do that. And when I would walk in there, like I said, I was performing on a higher consciousness. So I would go in there and I would look at different departments and I would look at different job positions and see people performing them. You know what I mean? Because I feel like they was more accessible than me trying to go get like a degree or me trying to, you know, not saying people can't get educated. I always got to clear this type of stuff up, because whatever lane people choose to take care of their family or to go to the next level, I always salute that. I'm always going to tip my hat if I had a hat. Salute that, man. I feel like as long as you're doing what you got to do to be the best version of yourself, I'm supportive of it. So anything I said up until this point, nothing against these people, man. I salute you, man. I started from that point too. You know, I was just like that too myself, having to work the same type of hustle. You know what I'm saying? So, but back to the situation, man. So I would just look in there. I would see welders, you know what I'm saying? I would see dudes with the face mask on, the face shield. You know what I'm saying? They would have like the equipment, man. You know what I'm saying? The hard hat. They would have the you know what I mean, steel-toe boots on, and things of that nature. And I would see them working, right? And then I would see like forklift drivers. You know what I'm saying? I would see guys transporting all the product from shipping to receiving, or different parts of the building, different departments, right? And I was just like, man, I feel like, you know, I seen other departments too. I would see like the maintenance guys, you know what I'm saying? Like the engineers, you know what I mean? Working on the machines, you know what I'm saying? I would see like CNC press operators, you know, guys that was just like machine operators operating different type of functions on the machines. You know what I mean? And I just felt like those specific positions had more job security. But I felt like I need to put more time and get more experience as far as building my resume, so that way I can kind of move up in the ladder. You know what I mean? So from there, I pretty much just, I started forklifting, man. And then once I started forklifting, I was able to, because the dreams that you have, they may require some sort of investment. You know what I mean? So the stuff I wanted to do with myself, it didn't require a major investment or a major down payment, but it did require me to have some sense of, like consistent income. You know what I mean? That way I could be able to afford things. You know what I mean? So, because like I said, at this time I'm 18, 19, so I'm thinking about living on my own and things of that nature. You know what I mean? I needed consistent income to be able to pay bills and just be a responsible adult and all that good stuff like that. So basically, to make a long story short, I ended up forklifting. I've been forklifting for a few years now. It's been treating me well. The vision I had for it, which was, just kind of getting out of that place where I felt like not no job security. Like I wasn't satisfied with the fact that my life could have a drastic change based off of like the job market or labor laws or things like that. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to hit you guys with some good game.